Welcome back to Hawk Talk here on 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater on this Tuesday, November 8th, 2022. I'm your host, Chris Pittner, here joined with a fantastic crew of David, Alyssa, Austin, and Brian, and we'll just jump right into it. So today I wanted to, just for a quick thought, icebreaker type of thing, I just wanted to know, what's a sport that you guys always wanted to either try or play but never had the chance to? We'll start with David.
When I was growing up, I was kind of into hockey. My dad actually played hockey at Western Michigan and was really good. Played all 4 years there. He told me that, he probably could have played professionally somewhere if he didn't give it up. But I suck at skating. I remember being 5 years old and trying to skate for the first time and just falling flat on my face and embarrassing myself, and I've never tried again after that. But I think playing hockey would be really cool, especially if you got a bunch of people who you can play it with and who you can have fun with. So yeah,
I've always admired hockey players, just how fast they're able to move that puck up and down the ice, and just how fast they go. Cool. Watching people like Connor McDavid out there just absolutely zoom through 10 defenders and then beat the goalie. I'm like, how do you even do that?
And then beat the other hockey players.
Quite literally, yeah. All right, Alyssa, what is one sport you always wanted to try?
Okay, if you were to ask me this question a couple years ago, I would say basketball. When I was little, my mom didn't let me play contact sports. So when I came to college, I was like, screw that. I have my independence. I'm going to play basketball. And I actually really enjoyed it. I'm just not very good.
I mean, practice makes perfect, right?
It's a fun sport. You just have to be good at it.
I mean, the whole point of playing is to get better.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, Austin.
For me, it's going to be golf. Growing up, I didn't really give it... I feel like it's a familiar case with a lot of kids. I didn't really give it a fair shot because it just seems really boring for the younger audience. But over the last couple years, I've grown to like golf a lot more, and I'm hoping to try to pick it up a little bit more in the four. I feel like that's the retirement sport for all high school athletes. It seems just to be golf. You go pick up golf when you're 30 and just play it the rest of your life.
You go pick up golf.
You look like John Daly out there.
Your running back career doesn't pan out.
Yep.
So.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I actually like that golf take. I didn't think of that. That's a good one. I certainly want to pick it up. My friends play a lot of it. But also, I had the chance to play football, baseball, and hockey already. I haven't played basketball, but one sport I always thought was quite interesting was the pole vault, actually. I'd watched that in the Olympics. It just amazes me how high they can get up, and it's just, it seemed interesting. Except my high school, we couldn't afford a pole vault, so that really didn't get a chance. So yeah, I'd say pole vault.
That's another good one, just because I've kind of been in the same boat. I was a track and cross country kid, however, I never really gave the field a fair shake. I've never been much of a thrower, as you can probably tell if you're watching the stream by my body type. And I've always just kind of done running a lot more. And some of those field events like pole vault or high jump or even long jump, triple jump, even the throwing events, they all just look cool. It's just I've never gotten them.
You gotta have some crazy upper body strength to be able to pole vault. I got respect
for sure.
I got a buddy who does that. I got insane respect to people who do that because the upper body strength required for that is crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to my sport though, I'm gonna add on to you guys with golf. I never really gave golf a fair try either. It seemed like every time my family would ever want to do it, or they were doing it, I just wasn't there. They would go to the driving range, or we got a few clubs for the backyard, and I just never really played that much. And I got on Golf Talk, as they call it, over the summer, and I just was watching mini golf and golf just constantly, and it was actually pretty interesting. And if you guys don't know, I'm from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and there's also quite a few big golf courses like Black Wolf Run and Whistling Straits up there that have hosted the Ryder Cup and the U.S. Open before, which I think is pretty cool. So to be able to golf on those would just be awesome. So moving into our first big topic of today, college basketball. It tipped off for most teams last night, and I just want to ask everybody kind of who's their favorite going into the season. We'll start with David.
favorite, do you mean like to win the national championship or?
Yeah. We'll start with that.
Well, I definitely think Arkansas has to be up there for me. They got 3 5-star recruits, and in my opinion, the best freshman in the country. A kid named Nick Smith. He's a dynamic like forward combo. Arkansas made a name for themselves last year after they defeated Gonzaga in the Sweet 16, and they're returning some of that core. Not all. They lost a couple players to the draft, but they're returning some of the core, and they have an insanely talented freshman class coming in. So I think they have to be in the conversation. I also think it would be cool to see like a non-blue blood school win, not somebody like a Kansas or a Duke, Kentucky, UNC, like a team like that. So they would probably be my pick as of now.
How about those Wisconsin Badgers for a non-blue blood?
Tyler Wall, tournament MVP.
You never know.
Who can tell?
All right, Alyssa.
Okay, I did watch part of the Wisconsin game yesterday, and they actually did really good. They won by a lot, so I think they could have a good chance this year. I mean, this probably wouldn't be like a winner, but I remember last year when we made a March Madness bracket, we had Kansas winning, and just from watching them, I do think they are another pretty good team. But for now, I'm going to say Wisconsin. I do think they have a good chance this year.
Kansas qualifies as a blue blood, correct?
It does qualify as a blue blood. Kansas, UNC, Duke, and Kentucky.
Yeah, that would
Villanova.
Be the
I was about to
as
say
Yeah.
we could debate Villanova on this one a little bit too.
I think they are, but
I think at this point I'm gonna have to agree with you guys just because of how consistent they've been over the last 10-15 years, ever since Jay Wright got there.
they have, in my opinion, the best team that's won it all in the last like 10-15 years. That 2018 team.
Is that the one with Dante DiVincenzo on
Yeah,
it?
that team. That
Yeah,
team
we don't
is,
talk about him
Yeah,
as a Michigan.
No, that
player.
having getting.
Hey, he lost me bracketology that year too,
No,
so
that
I'm
team-
right with you guys.
That team was crazy.
Yeah, that was a very good team.
Either that or their 2016 team.
I
with-
would take the 2018 team over them, and I would take them over the Zion Duke team.
Bold take right there.
Yeah,
that Zion Duke team was very talented as well. I didn't like them very much though.
They were talented, but they weren't deep.
No,
Dante-
they just had their big three.
Dante DiVincenzo came off the bench for that team. Like, they were so good. But, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Austin.
Yeah, I was gonna agree with the Arkansas take. I think Eric Musselman has been one of the best head coaches the last few years, ever since he got to Arkansas. Very good recruiter. But since you mentioned that, I'll mention Houston. I think that's another team who has
Facts.
a top coach in the
Facts.
country. The last couple of years, they've gotten more national recognition with deep tournament runs, and then they're ranked third in the preseason poll this year. So I like Houston.
I think they have the player who's going to win National Player of the Year this year, Marcus Sasser.
Yeah.
I think he's going to win it.
He's definitely up there.
Not
for
to flex
contention.
or anything though, but the blue blood Wisconsin Badgers themselves last year actually beat them in the. I forgot what tournament they were in, but it was in some.
Did you guys buzzer them? Or,
it was
Yeah.
It was a really close game. I don't know if
I
it was
think
a
I
buzzer
remember
beater.
that. Yeah, that was impressive.
It was early on in the year. Yeah.
We made some noise last year.
For my favorite this year, I think it's always tough predicting college basketball, especially since we know how March can go, Any of these favorites, we have no idea. They can go down day one, We had that with, like, Duke a couple years ago against Mercer and, like, Virginia against UMBC. Like,
oh, my God.
things happen, so...
Greatest upset of all time.
That was fun.
Yeah. But, so I'm going to go with... Villanova, another Philly team. I'm not a fan of Villanova personally, but it's the year of Philly. I think Villanova is going to make a deep run this year.
Fair enough on that one. I mean, new blue blood status. For my pick, I'm going to go with old reliable
Don't
North
say
Carolina.
Gonzaga. Okay, thank you.
No. Gonzaga chokes every year.
No,
Don't,
that's what I was gonna say.
don't even worry about me
Please
saying
don't
that.
say
Gonzaga's like the Dodgers of the.
Please don't say
basketball.
Gonzaga.
Just acquiring the Infinity Gauntlet, but yet never actually winning.
No. If Gonzaga was in a different conference, they would be like such a mid-level team, in my opinion.
It's just, they play in.
The West Coast Conference.
Yeah, there's literally one other semi-decent team in there. Like, of course, they're going to win by 50 every year.
I'd say there's two. I'd say BYU and then St. Mary's is decent, but no.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
there's-
BYU.
Yeah, no, there's But I agree, North Carolina is a good pick.
Caleb Love and Armando Baycott are a
Yep.
heck of a duo there.
R.J. Davis is still there as well. That's crazy. They
They
returned.
returned like the whole team.
Yeah,
from the-
and you never see that in college
And they have
basketball.
championship experience now
Yeah.
too.
That's why I liked UCLA so much last year. Is that like first 4 team that made it all the way to the Final Four? They returned the entire starting lineup. So I always root for teams that like are able to do that because that's very rare in college basketball.
Yeah. I think it's definitely like it could become more of a possibility with like the NIL now. You
Yep.
saw a bunch of like the National Player of the Year, Oscar Shibwe, he came back. Hunter Dickinson came back. Armando Baker. Like there's a bunch of
Yeah.
like big name college guys that are coming back just because they can get more money in the NIL.
Yeah,
If only Johnny Davis came back.
Sheboy actually is making just as much money off of just name, image, and likeliness as he would have with his current draft stock. In like he would have been a mid-second round pick.
Oh.
So you could actually it's with certain players, if you have a high enough status, it could actually encourage them to stay in college a little longer.
Yeah, that could honestly be a whole different debate for a different day that we could talk about. Whereas
For sure.
it used to be you have to get to the league as soon as possible just so you can make your money. But at this point, it's almost like if you're a little older, you might as well just ride college out. To be honest,
Yeah.
see if you can get a degree out of it or something like
Yeah.
that. Like if you're gonna end up overseas anyway, and your career's probably not gonna pan out in America, who's to say you don't try and make money off your likeness before that?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so now moving on to everyone's favorite teams. I actually don't know your favorite team, Brian. Who is it?
Oh, for college, I'm a Badger fan.
Let's go.
Yeah.
How you feeling about this year?
I like it. I feel like every year we always get disrespected. You know, last year we were projected to finish 9th. We win it, the regular season or regular season titles with Illinois. But yeah, I feel we get disrespected every year. We've missed the tournament once in I think I saw it was like either the past 10 or 20 years, which I think is impressive. Greg Gard, you know, I think he's a tremendous coach. You know, they're always sleeping on us. What else did I have to say? You might have to come back to me. Someone else can go.
That's 100% fair on that. I have to agree. I think Chucky Hepburn and Tyler Wall are going to take huge steps forward this year. However,
Agree.
I think depth is a bit of a concern with this team.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new players like Max Klesmet and Kamari McGee on the team that I don't really know much about yet. I know that they were both solid high school standouts in Wisconsin, but that doesn't always pan out, unfortunately. Like Carter Gilmore, for example.
Yeah, he went to Arrowhead.
He went to Arrowhead, and he was an absolute stud there, but he goes to Wisconsin, and well...
I usually he did get a lot of playing time though. I think the jury's still out on him.
Yeah,
'cause-
him and Jordan Davis, I think, are kind of in the same boat there. Johnny Davis's twin brother.
Oh yeah.
I think Jordan Davis, last night when I was watching the game, that's the only name I heard for the entire time I was watching. They're like, Jordan Davis, and they kept talking about his brother too, who's in the NBA. They're like, yeah, he would do so good, he should come back.
He should come back.
I think if
Yeah.
his brother makes
That
it
would
in the
do wonders
NBA,
for
he
a
would
draft
do
stock.
good.
I think, in my opinion, I think his brother Johnny Davis, who was a National Player of the Year candidate last year, I don't believe he won it. Did he
No,
not?
it was Sheboy.
Yeah.
I
It was
thought-
Sheboy.
But I think staying another year in college, letting his jumper develop a little more would have worked wonders for him for his
But
draft stock.
I honestly think his draft stock would have gone down though,
You think so?
because his usage rate would have gone down with the development of Chucky. And I know you guys got another good guard, but yeah, I think it would have helped his game, but I don't think it would have helped his draft stock.
Yeah. I think our biggest concern overall has to be probably our big man position. I think Steven Crowell isn't physical enough down there.
Yeah, I like Steven Crowell. I think he has good off. I think his footwork is really good. You don't
He can
see a
shoot
lot
the
of,
three a little bit too.
You don't see a lot of guys his size that can be as mobile as he is. But I think if you put him in the post with Zach Edey or even Coleman Hawkins or somebody else from the Big Ten or like Hunter Dickinson, I think it's wraps.
Yeah, unfortunately for us.
Yeah.
So moving on to the Michigan fans in here now. We got two of them, Austin and David. How we feeling about this year?
Austin, you want to go first?
Yeah, so we're feeling all right. We're ranked at the beginning of the season. We don't have as high of expectations as the beginning of last year, where I feel like high expectations has hurt Michigan basketball.
You guys were
We were
ranked about 4 or 5
Yeah,
at
we
the
were
start of
ranked-
last
we were
year.
ranked fourth for the first few weeks of the season until we lost.
Yeah.
Then the inconsistencies happened, but made the Sweet 16 still at the end of the year, 5 straight.
Built for March.
Yep. But anyways, this is the third straight year that Juwan Howard has acquired a transfer point, like a grad transfer point guard that will be starting for us, Jalen Llewellyn this year. So we'll see how he's do. And my favorite player, I think, is to watch is going to be Jet Howard, Juwan's second son. Had dropped 21 last night in his debut, and obviously Hunter Dickinson is going to be a National Player of the Year candidate with coming back.
Yeah, just don't let Juwan Howard anywhere near Greg Gard this year.
Yeah, that game should be interesting when they both play each other.
I'm excited for that game.
I want to say that they like hugged each other last year, like hugged it out or something like that.
And then Wisconsin basketball like posted a picture of Juwan and them together.
Yeah, they said making Valentine's Day plans or something. That was awesome.
I think our Instagram page, or blank that out. If any editor is listening, blank that out. But FCC, if you're listening, ignore that. I think that the Wisconsin social media pages are very up to par.
Yeah, I would agree.
For sure.
Yeah, but I also am very excited about our team this year. I think I agree with what Austin said. Last year we were ranked 4th and ended up making March Madness as an 11 seed because we had the second best recruit class in the country last year, having 2 5-stars, both of which who I don't think should have declared.
I don't think they should have.
I don't think Houston or I think Diabate Houston definitely
should have.
Could have.
Diabate is just like an NBA body.
Diabate with his physical tools is just like some team is looking at him and being like, I'm going to turn him into the next like DeAndre Ayton or something. But Houston definitely should have stayed, and then. Very sad with Frankie Collins. I strongly dislike him, and I wish him nothing but I can't wait until we play Arizona State and we 40 ball him and he's the starting point guard for them. But I think it's kind of good that we're coming in with a little bit less expectations. I think the Big Ten is generally a little bit weaker than it was last year.
For sure.
I was about to say, last year there was borderline almost 10 teams ranked at a time.
And then,
this year,
in 2020, it was in the regular
now.
season the best conference in college basketball and had like 9 teams make it in.
It was an
tournament.
absolute gauntlet
and
that
then
year.
Michigan was the only team that made the Sweet 16.
I wasn't going to say it, but but I really like what I saw yesterday. I think this team has a little bit more depth this year than it did actually last year.
Yeah.
Hunter obviously coming back. I think he's the second best center in college basketball. I think he's just as good as Baycott, if not better. The only guy I would put over him is Timmy. But also, Kobe Buffkin looks to have taken a pretty nice leap. He was as the starting shooting guard. Terrence Williams is another guy I really like ever since he's in the same draft class as Hunter at our starting power forward spot now. But some really exciting freshmen. Jet Howard, Taurus Reed. We got some pretty exciting. Doug McDaniel as well looks to be the point guard of the future, hopefully. But I think in this conference, I definitely would put Indiana at 1, and I'd have to put Illinois at 2. But I definitely think that we could be, the third best team in the Big Ten, especially with our strength of schedule.
I mean, this is a total change of topic, but you can never count out the greatest basketball player of all time, Doug Edard, either on his new team in Bryant.
Oh yeah, he's at Bryant now.
They 100-balled the team yesterday, and for those of you listening that don't know what that means, it means that they won by over 100 points.
To even score,
how many did he have?
Doug had 19.
Let's go, Doug.
to even score 100 points in a college game is crazy. Like that barely ever happens.
I remember the Warhawks actually had a game last year where they scored 143.
Did we play a high school team or something?
It was what was their names? I think it was like DePaul or something like that, or Greenville maybe.
Okay.
I'm not 100% on that, but I know that the final was 143 to 102.
That's crazy.
That is impressive.
I want to say we shot over like 65% that game.
My God.
I think it was just not a lot of defense being played, almost like a Chino Hills game.
NBA All-Star game.
Yeah.
Yep, but in college.
Yep.
So we're going to transition into our next topic now, titled What the Buck. Talking about how the Bucks had their best start in franchise history. And we'll move over to Alyssa. Do you think this is sustainable for the Bucks to keep this up?
Okay, it's fine if they lose. Like, they're going to lose a game at some point. They're probably not going to finish with a perfect record, even though that would be cool. Like, it just happens. You're gonna win games, you're gonna lose games. I think it would be cool if they would have made it to maybe like 12 or 13-0. That would have been cool. But there are some games where if you think about these good teams, like the Nets, maybe the Lakers or the Suns, yeah, they might lose. Like, that's fine, but it would have just been cool to have a really high winning streak.
Well, I mean, 9 is their highest in franchise history. What do you think built them up to getting to 9? Was it like a certain player, or was it a scheme, or?
See, I'm very confused by that because, like, half of their good players are out. Like, even their new players. We had Joe Ingles, who I thought would be cool, but he's out. He's hurt.
Well, Joe Ingles, he tore his ACL,
He's
I
gonna be
believe
out
it
for a
was.
while.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
going to be out until January. Chris Middleton should be coming back sometime soon, and I think the same for Pat Connaughton.
Yeah, like, I don't know. You would have thought that these good players would have been the key players to winning, but apparently that's not the situation.
Giannis.
Like,
I
okay,
mean, we've been seeing superhuman play from Giannis to
Yeah.
this point for sure.
see, like, that's cool. You see our best player really stepping up and making the moves to win. Like, that's cool. I really enjoy that. Like, you just gotta think all of these bench players, too, that they gotta step up and make some moves. And they've been doing a really good job with that.
I think Marjan Beauchamp had a really good game last Friday against the Timberwolves.
He's our rookie, isn't he?
Yeah,
Like,
first
that-
round pick.
See, that's really nice, seeing some moves by the rookie.
Yeah, and I think Javon Carter's been playing solid defense so far. Drew Holiday has been stepping up when we need him. He's been very inconsistent, to say the least, thus far, but
I feel
Oh.
like that's always how he is, though.
I was gonna say,
Like, we've just learned to be accustomed to Drew Holiday inconsistencies.
I think Brooke deserves a lot of credit too.
oh, Brooke
He said-
Lopez has
Brooke
been
has
playing
Brooke has
out of his
balling.
mind.
Brooke has been balling.
Yeah.
I think the whole reason that you guys signed Bobby to a little bit, in my opinion, a pretty large overpay was so that he could phase out Brooke Lopez for the starting center job once his contract was up, because obviously he doesn't have a ton of good years left. But if he keeps playing like that, then I mean, Bobby might have to still come off the bench once
I think
he's fully healthy.
I actually disagree with you saying that Bobby has a gross overpay, just because I believe his contract is 4 years, about 41 million, something like that,
I thought
49 million.
it was in the 50s.
Nah, I don't believe so.
I thought it was like 3 years, 50 million.
It's 4 years something. It is all I know, he's averaging 14 or last year he averaged 14 and 9, which is pretty solid. This year he's actually averaging a double-double. So I'm actually going to disagree with you on the overpay. I think it's more just a sign of the times on how basketball, the salaries are going up significantly from where they used to be. I mean, if you look at the guys like Giannis getting the Supermax, they're making 4 times that amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Same with even like a Chris Middleton making like three times that money. So, Brian, what do you think a catalyst or two is for the Bucks' strong start this year?
Yeah, I think it's obviously you got or not Embiid, Giannis. He's always gonna be Giannis. He's gonna play at that MVP level on both ends of the floor. I think also Brooke Lopez, how well he's played has been a big factor too with him on defense. I think he could maybe be a low-key defensive player of the year candidate right now.
I think his post defense is very underrated.
Yeah.
He averages close to 2 or 3 blocks a game.
Yeah, and then also I do like that draft pick. How do you pronounce his name?
Marjan Beauchamp.
Marjan Beauchamp.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's been playing well. I think he's going to keep developing into a big role player for you guys.
His whole MO kind of is that he's a bit more of a defensive player. He's a bit more of an underdog, kind of like that PJ Tucker type, where they
Yeah.
don't do as much offensively, but they provide more in the other facets of the
He's more of a
game.
blocker.
Yeah.
That's what they showed when he got drafted. Like, he's a blocker.
He's an
really good at
athlete.
this.
Well, he's already been playing at the pro level for a year because he opted
He was
out of
on the
college.
Ignite,
He was on
I
G League
believe,
Ignite,
yeah.
I honestly think you guys, until proven otherwise, I think Blake Wesley would have been a better pick just to have some more offense at shooting guard, but I like Marjan Beauchamp.
I honestly, speaking of Wesley, I don't think Wesley Matthews has been doing absolutely horrible either this year. I mean, he hit that clutch 3 against the Sixers at least.
I think he's doing fine for now.
Sorry, Brian.
You're good.
I think he's doing fine for now, but I think if you guys like trade for like a Jordan Clarkson or an Eric Gordon or somebody like that, to become the new starting shooting guard. I think it's wraps for the rest of the Eastern Conference.
I think Eric Gordon would be an
That could be an interesting pick.
it could be.
I honestly don't know if, because of surprisingly how good the Jazz are doing,
Yeah,
if they would
Clarkson
want
might not be on the
Yeah,
trading block at
but
all.
no, Eric Gordon will definitely not be on the Rockets by the time the season's
Yeah.
over. So that could be a really
Yeah,
Could be
I
an
mean,
interesting-
I honestly forgot he was still there.
That's what I'm saying. I think the Rockets did too.
Him and John Wall last year.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's also been playing really well too.
Because I remember those days when it was like him and Ryan Anderson as like their two big kind of backups behind Harden and whoever else his pairing was
They had
at
Chandler
the time.
Parsons for a while too.
That was early Chandler Parsons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Before he started turning into glass.
Yeah. That was pre-car crash Chandler Parsons.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just move into more general NBA at this point. So now we're gonna talk about winners and losers. So we'll start with Alyssa again on this one. Who do you think in the NBA is overperforming and who's underperforming?
Underperforming, I have the Warriors. I thought they would have done so much better this season. Like, their record, they're 4-7 right now. I would have thought they would have started to be like the Bucks, where they were like 9-0, maybe like 5-0. That would have been fine, but they're losing to like I think they lost to Miami, maybe. Like, I was just so shocked by that. Like, you guys should have won that. Like, why did you lose?
I know that they lost to Orlando, if I'm not mistaken.
And they barely beat the Kings. They beat the
Yeah.
Kings by 3.
Like,
They lost to the Thunder.
Why are they losing to all these bad teams? I don't get it.
I'm actually gonna pose that question to everybody. Why do you think they're losing to these bad teams? We'll start with David on this one.
I was going to say, that's a really good team to bring up because I feel like that's definitely one of the biggest surprises. In my opinion, the biggest reason why they're losing is a gross overestimation of how good the bench could be. Losing guys like Nemanja Bjelica, Otto Porter, guys like that, it's proven that, obviously, with guys like that, the Warriors aren't a young team, at least with the core they have now. But I feel like they're really banking on guys like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and James Wiseman to really, take a step forward and, provide a spark off the bench. The second unit is all pretty much second or third year players, and Kuminga was the sixth man for a while, and now he's not even in the rotation. James Wiseman's he's okay for a lob threat, but he's looked lost on defense a lot of the times. And Moses Moody hasn't even been able to crack the rotation either. I think the Warriors, one of the biggest problems is that they just don't really have a real center. I mean, Kevon Looney's all right. But and he overperformed in the playoffs last year for sure, but he's not going to be a guy that you can rely on for 30 to 35 minutes every game. And against a team like the Kings or against a team like the Heat, you've seen other all-star centers like Domantas Sabonis or Bam Adebayo just go to work in the paint. Opposing teams are shooting 57% in among 3 feet from the basket against the Warriors. And until they get an actual center, I don't know if the problems that they're having of losing to teams like that is going to change.
I mean, that's always kind of been an issue for them, even going back to the post-Andrew Bogut days.
Yeah.
Kevon Looney has been kind of rolling as their center, even though I think his true position is more power forward.
Yeah.
And I think they brought James Wiseman in to kind of fix that too, but
I don't know. I feel like with James Wiseman, it's kind of like how I feel about Patrick Williams as a Bulls fan. He missed an entire season, so it's hard to judge him as a third-year player since he's really only had not even an entire season of NBA experience. So,
not only that, he didn't even play that whole season.
No,
he maybe played like half of it, I
games.
believe.
Yeah, so I feel like it's pretty much like you're still starting a rookie center. And as the upside he might have, his game, his intangibles just aren't up to NBA standard yet. And like I said, if Looney is gassed, which he's not the guy that's going to give you 30 minutes a game, then they don't really have anyone to go to down low. And I feel like that's one of the reasons they're losing a lot of games.
Austin, what do you think about those points right there?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think James Wiseman, right now he's only playing 13 minutes a game. I think they're trying to just incorporate him in more as he doesn't have a lot of experience. I expect that number to go up. But really, just like anyone but Steph is just not performing up to their ceiling right now. Like Steph is their whole team. He's the only one that's been performing well. But guys like Clay hasn't been shooting like the best. Draymond, we don't know how much he's focused with. Like if him and
Chemistry
Jordan,
issues.
Yeah,
I mean, his
him and
whole
Jordan Poole
offensive
still
game
have,
is,
yeah. We don't like the chemistry might just be a little broken right now, but I definitely expect them to still turn it around.
I think Wiggins has been playing pretty well.
Yeah,
He's always another good defensive player.
yeah, that was definitely a good.
Yeah.
The way that they kept Wiggins and Poole, I definitely like that they could keep both of them, but I think they're just trying to figure out who they are like with their bench rotation. I don't think they're still trying to figure out who can be like the sixth guy, who's the seventh guy that can still play big minutes.
Well, I think Jordan Poole is definitely the sixth guy.
I meant,
but
yeah,
the thing
like
is that like just when he comes out with the rest of the second unit, all the defensive attention is on him.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest
they just
problem.
they gotta add a little bit more depth, I think.
I mean, another thing is Jordan Poole started 30% from three. For someone who's supposed to be able to knock those down as perhaps maybe even a third or a fourth scoring option, that's just unexacceptable. Same with Clay shooting at 32%.
The thing about Clay
that's not
is
gonna
that
cut
like
it.
he might not even like I drafted him in fantasy and there's expectations that he might not play back to backs. So the Warriors are gonna have to
Is that
game-
more of a load management thing?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Just, conditioning, injury management, load management, whatever you want to call it, but he might only play like 40, 50 games this season, so even that. So that could be interesting to see how Kerr decides to game plan him. I wouldn't be surprised if they made like a Jay Crowder trade or something like that, or like a Jakob Poeltl. I think Jakob Poeltl would be perfect for the Warriors.
I think they just need some. I know this sounds just not good, but they need some defense. They've been lacking on that side of the court thus far.
Yeah. Andrew Wiggins is the only real elite defender they have now.
Yeah.
Now that they got rid of Otto Porter.
See, one thing they were struggling with last year that they still are this year is their turnovers. There was a game I was watching, they had 20, maybe 21 turnovers. I would have thought during the entire summer they would have worked on that. My thought is no, that they did not, because it was just like last year. They had the same amount of turnovers. It did not change. That's something they need to work on so much.
I think the thing about them getting so many turnovers, though, is just the fact that they move the ball so much. Their entire offense just revolves around moving the ball. And if someone throws a bad pass, it's just going to get picked.
See,
Yeah.
they do have good passing now, I'll say that.
They have the best ball movement system in the NBA, in my opinion.
All right, so moving on to a team that I think has overperformed a little bit this year is the Utah Jazz.
Jesus.
How about them Jazz guys?
How?
We'll start with Brian on this one.
Lauri Markkanen is a
Yeah.
grown franchise cornerstone. I saw it from the beginning.
Brian, what's making the Jazz so successful this year?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think, it might be like they got that like, oh, no one thinks they're gonna do well attitude. So like, oh, let's prove them wrong. It could be that. I think they've been they're shocking a lot of people, and I honestly had them as a little bit of a sleeper team. I think like their lineup isn't that bad. I think they have some good depth. I think they can keep it up. I think they're a good team.
I think the thing is Lauri Markkanen was simply just misutilized everywhere else he's
And,
been.
like,
And
I agree.
Yeah.
like
I
with the
agree.
Just let
Bulls,
him
they tried
free.
to make him like a stretch four kind of, and
Yeah.
that's just not what he does.
No, he's not. He's never been like a shot creation type of player. He's always worked better inside when he can like get to his spots.
Yeah, so everyone viewed him as a bust because of that, but
I always liked Lauri. Our head coach before Donovan
was it
terrible.
Jim Boylan?
Jim Boylan pretty much killed Lauri Markkanen's
Him and
career.
Fred Hoiberg, right?
Yeah. Jim Boylan is pretty much 90% of why Lauri Markkanen didn't work out in Chicago, unfortunately. But
I mean, yeah, and just to talk about another player on their team, Jordan Clarkson, moving
go
back to
crazy.
what you guys were saying, kind of about him a little bit, like him being on the trade block, I think if the Bucks could somehow acquire him, it would be over.
either one of those guys, like just a scoring shooting guard, because like I said, I think I've said this before. The weakest position, the only weak link on the Bucks is like pure shooting guards, like scoring spark plug shooting guards. You guys don't have one of those. If
I
you
mean,
guys
Grayson Allen kind of slots in there, but I would see him more as like a bench role,
but
kind of like.
he's way too inconsistent to rely
Yeah.
on game to game. And Pat Connaughton isn't really like a shot creator. He's more like a shot streamer. But yeah, somebody like Jordan Clarkson, he's consistently going to get you like 15 to 20 per night. I think that would be over for the league if you guys got somebody like that.
Yeah, Austin, what are your how are you feeling about this Jazz team and
I
what they
mean-
might be able to do?
I mean, yeah, I don't really know exactly how to feel it. Laurie's obviously balling right now, but it's really as how long they can keep this up. I know when they started 3-0, we did that show where we still ranked the teams and we still said they're gonna fall back down to earth and be one of the worst teams in the league. But now that they're 9-3, there's a little bit more of will they come down? But I definitely think they will. Laurie will not be able to. I don't think if he'll be able to maintain what he's doing right now. I think he can still be.
Disrespectful.
That's the Bulls fan in you.
I think he can still be one of their best players, but he won't be able to average 20 the whole season, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
when he's wearing that All-Star jersey this year, you're gonna regret that
All right,
take.
It's almost like
Come
you
back
think
to me
he's.
when he is then.
It's almost like you still think he is on the Bulls.
I would love that, honestly.
You Chicago fans, man. I'll give you credit. You never give up on your players.
Hey man,
Like Justin Fields, my friend rode with him all the way until.
he's looking like he's not a bust.
I
He's
mean,
looking pretty good.
He's looking better than that Karen that plays about 2 hours north of him.
It's not a hot take right now to say Fields is the best quarterback in that class.
Oh, in that
No, definitely
class,
not.
that's a cold take. That's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
true. I mean, if you look at the rest of the QBs, I mean, Mac Jones is. I think part of that, the whole Patriots thing is scheming. I think he's a little better than
Plus,
what Matt Patricia and Joe Judge allow him to be.
that injury, like a high ankle sprain, should be like 4 to 5 weeks. He came back after like 3 weeks. I'm not convinced he's playing at 100% strength.
Yeah.
For somebody who's had a high ankle sprain before, it sucks.
I've even had a low ankle
Yeah.
sprain. And all right, so back to basketball. But so now another team that's kind of been struggling this year is the Los Angeles Lakers, and kind of struggling underestimates how bad they've been.
That's putting it
So
mildly.
we'll start with Brian again on this one. What do you think is their main weak point right now?
Yeah, with the Lakers, I'm a LeBron guy, so this stinks to see LeBron's like last few years going to waste like this. But yeah, they just can't stay healthy. Anthony Davis, he seems like he's always hurt. There's always something up with him. They got no depth, nothing. They got no shooters. It's just not a good situation for Los Angeles right now, and they might struggle to even make the play-in.
I mean, their defense has looked good to start the year, but lately it's just looked abysmal. I mean, they gave
Yeah.
up 139 points last night.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, and I don't believe LeBron played last night. However, it's going to be hard to justify this team as even like a play-in candidate if they keep going at this pace.
True.
Yeah, just behind the big three, even if you still want to call that with how bad Russ has played, but
Russ has
I mean,
actually
he's been better off the
yeah,
bench.
he's been doing
Since
okay off the bench.
Yeah, he's been definitely been doing okay off the bench, but just besides those guys, they really just don't have anyone on this team that I look at as that can be like a contributor for them. Like they got a couple of guys like Patrick Beverly, I think has played like he's going to be the defensive guy, but they still just don't we talked about this earlier. They still just don't have shooting, which is their biggest problem, I think.
I mean, no offense to Matt Ryan, but when you're getting significant minutes in the NBA, like all the props to him for being able to make it, but he should not be getting significant minutes on.
He got benched for the
On a
bench for
supposed
the Colts,
playoff contender.
He got benched for the Colts a few weeks ago. He's like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
he's
switch
just-
sports.
dipped.
He's playing basketball.
See, here's my issue with the Lakers. Now, LeBron James, he's what, like 40?
He's gonna be 39.
He's not far off.
He's gonna be
He-
39.
he's
Yeah.
like-
The washed king.
Like, he's still
my
good,
God.
but he's like slowing down, kind of. Or he's still
As he
good.
should be.
He's
Yeah.
still good, but he's not like great. You have Anthony Davis. I don't care for him anymore. He's hurt.
Facts.
You're never gonna see him play anymore. He's just hurt.
Actually, fun fact, he's played the same amount of games as LeBron this year. They're both at 9.
Yeah. The fact that
And
Anthony
he's
Davis
actually
is-
played 9 out of their 10 games so far.
the fact that
Respect.
Anthony Davis is like that's a comparison when LeBron is 39. Like that's crazy.
LeBron should be almost in a wheelchair at this point. I
That's what I'm
mean,
saying.
Bronny's 2 years off the league,
Yeah.
so
See, they just don't have shooters. I feel like they try too hard where they're like, yeah, we're going to do great. And they're just like shooting and not getting them. I feel like they're just trying too hard. They're just shooting and not getting them. They got no shooters.
that's the nice way to put it. I mean, looking just through their list, I mean, their top 2 shooters are Max Christie, who's taken like 3,
That's my
and
boy.
then
He shouldn't even be in the NBA. He should have came back to Michigan State. I still am pissed about that.
and Matt Ryan is their next one.
Matty Ice.
Nice.
Then you go to AR-15 and Austin Reeves.
I like Austin Reeves. He's solid.
And then the next one is Russell Westbrook.
Oh wow.
I mean, I know it's a small sample size, but LeBron's also shooting
He's shooting
21% from 3.
Yeah, I see that. That's not.
That's abysmal.
That's
No.
my king. No, so here's my thing about the Lakers. I think their problems. You like their general problems can't be put on one specific player. It has to go back to management, and I'll tell you why. The Lakers, obviously they're one of the biggest franchises in the NBA. They have money to go out and they have assets to get big name players. And like I feel like when they made the Russ trade, they thought like, oh, we're gonna pair Russell Westbrook, a former MVP, up with 2, top 10, top 15 players. But they don't apply how those pairings would fit in the context of the situation.
Oh, they fit. It's not a fit.
Pairing Russell Westbrook, who was the 3rd highest usage rate percentage player, not just like point guard, but player in the NBA, with LeBron James, who is one of the most ball dominant players of all time, and Anthony Davis, somebody who literally can't do anything with the ball, or can't do anything on the court. He just stands around if he doesn't have the ball in his hands. Proved to be terrible. The spacing was awful, and the team suffered because of it. But the thing is that, like you guys were all saying, they didn't have shooting, and because they spent so much money and spent so many assets to get Russell Westbrook and are paying LeBron and AD so much, they tried to just, go cheap on the positions. They saw that like Trevor Ariza, Wesley Matthews was on there for a year. Guys like that. Guys who shouldn't even, like Kent Bazemore, guys who shouldn't even be in NBA rotations anymore. We're getting consistent minutes just because they were known for shooting like 5 years ago. And it didn't work out last year, and they did the same thing this year with Patrick Beverley. I feel like the Lakers wanted Patrick Beverley to be like, maybe like a 3rd or 4th scoring option, and they saw that, he shot 39% last year with the Timberwolves, but the only reason that he did that was because all the attention was on, Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, and it was the same thing when he was on the Clippers. If you're playing against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell, you're not going to be worried about Patrick Beverley.
Patrick Beverley can sit open.
That's what
for
I'm
all I
saying. You're not
care.
going to be worried about him sitting in the corner. So, but now with, they expect Patrick Beverley at times, it's crazy to say, but at times with some of the rotations they've been running, he's the most talented player in their starting 5. But when he has actual defensive attention placed onto him, you see how bad he's shooting now. Like, he's one of those guys that he thrives when there's, like, nobody looking at him. And the fact that now he's supposed to be one of the main guys, like, you see how poorly he's doing, like, percentage-wise. I also think that, I will say that I actually really like Darvin Ham. And I think what you said earlier about the defensive, I think he's starting to establish a defensive identity. He said that they wanted to improve in that category, and they have. And I also really respect him for benching Russell Westbrook because, as you said earlier, that looks like to be the right move for him. I feel like Frank Vogel last year was just too afraid of what Russ would do or how LeBron would take it if he decided to bench Russ. But
Darvin Ham is he's putting the hammer down.
He's
The hammer down.
He's been better. So I think he's the right move for head coach. But they're just going to be in a wasteland because at this point it's not a hot take to say LeBron isn't in the top 10 players right now. I mean, you could still put him in there, but like there's other guys.
I mean, it's hard to justify a 39-year-old
Exactly.
to begin with, much less a 39-year-old whose team is 2-8.
And it's just like it's hard because like you have this weird imbalance where LeBron is still skill-wise the best player on the team, but he's to the point where he can't carry the team anymore like he used to. But Anthony Davis isn't healthy enough, and in my opinion right now isn't good enough to be like the guy. So the scoring has to come from somewhere, and it's not.
I think honestly, they should just blow it up and start over again. Like, they got
That's-
their championship, and it's,
2020.
yeah, it's past.
But
like,
the-
their time is gone.
See, the thing about even that, though, is that if I'm a Lakers fan, I'm worried about blowing it up because of how much talent has escaped the team in the past and gotten better. Like, sure, like they could blow it up and rebuild and get a lot younger, but you've seen what's happened.
Well,
in
it
the
seems
past.
like almost every time they get younger, they just trade it all away for old people.
Trade it all
again.
away for old people, or they give the young guys that they get and who are now really good a couple years to develop. But the Lakers also, in my opinion, have the worst player development like out of any team in the league. You've seen like Jordan Clarkson, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, D'Angelo Russell, Kyle Kuzma. You can make an all-star lineup with those 5 players literally right there. They all were on the Lakers at one point when they were really young and were considered as busts, and then left the Lakers and are now, solidified all-star or near all-star level talent.
I mean, the thing about that, too, I think, is maybe the lights are too bright for them there.
It's like the Yankees of the NBA, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
without
to have
a
a
doubt.
certain mindset to play there. But
Speaking of the Yankees, Aaron Judge, however, that's a different topic for a different day.
Yeah.
So, moving
man's
on.
gotta be rich.
Well, we're going to hit Brian 76ers really quick. I don't really know what to make of them so far. I'll just let you take it away.
Yeah, it's been an interesting start to the season so far. The Sixers are they are used to slow starts, so I'm not too worried right now. Harden, he's been playing well. He's back, looked like he's back to his normal self. His shooting could be a little better, but hey, we'll take anything, especially since he's not our number 1 option. But yeah, he's out for a month now, so that's gonna stink. It's Harden. He knows what he's gonna do at home. He's probably just gonna be sitting around.
to be hanging out with Rick Ross at the little baby again.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I think they've looked good. Embiid's missed I think he missed all of last week because
He returned yesterday
Yeah,
and had a double-double.
Yeah, I saw that, and he had some sort of illness. I think I think we've looked okay. I think as long as Doc Rivers is our head coach, though, we can't expect much from this team. I think we need a Joe Girardi firing with Doc Rivers. Get this.
What I think you guys need is Brett Brown back.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
I liked Brett Brown as a coach. I thought he managed the
Brett
team.
Brown's solid.
I thought that's really what helped out Ben Simmons a lot too, was Brett Brown. But yeah, not a good start to the season. I do expect him to pick it up.
I mean, just looking at this, you guys have had some good wins. I mean, you obliterated the Raptors. You just beat the Suns. You beat the Bulls. I mean, there's
Alright,
good
that's-
wins here.
Yeah, and then we lost to the Spurs.
Well,
though,
We lost to the Spurs too.
I mean, we played the Spurs on Friday, so who says we don't lose that game?
They're better than they look, man. I'm telling you. I underestimated them too.
I mean, you can never underestimate a pop coach
Yeah.
team.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna throw a hot take out real quick. I think Brian's gonna like it a lot. I think Tyrese Maxey has the best chance to be a first-time All-Star out of any player that is considered.
yeah.
He's looked very solid
I
this
think
year.
he has a better chance to be a first-time All-Star than Anthony Edwards because of, he's obviously the 3rd best player on the team, averaging around 24.5 points per game right now. But the thing about the 2 co-stars he's playing with is that they can't stay on the court.
Yep.
With Harden out for a month and Embiid probably going to play. No, sorry to tell you, but probably going to play another 50 to 60 game season.
Yeah.
I think Maxey is going to be the guy for a lot of the season, and I think in that case, he's not going to be playing under anybody for stretches of the season. I think he has the best chance to be a first-time All-Star this year. I really like Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
One puzzling pick I thought you guys made was that PJ Tucker contract in the offseason. I was a little confused by that one.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much that you signed him, but you signed him for 3 years and $33 million.
I didn't understand why.
That's
if they were
like
gonna
the same
do
rate that Bobby Portis is making right now.
I didn't understand if they did that. Why did they get Montrezl Harrell? Because Montrezl Harrell is probably just as good as PJ Tucker at this stage in his career.
I mean, PJ, we know he's a dog, but
He is a dog.
That he is.
he adds next to nothing offensively besides the corner three.
he
Corner
sits in the
three.
corner on offense
It's like
every
Peter
possession.
Griffin.
Corner 3.
But yeah, I mean, by the end of his contract, he's going to be 40 years old making over $10 million a year.
Wow.
He is no LeBron James. No offense to PJ
His
Tucker.
shoot game is.
But,
His shoot
oh,
game
yeah.
is.
I think he should have stayed with Miami. Yeah?
I also think you should have. That's
Yeah.
facts.
I think he should have stayed with Milwaukee, but, I'm a little biased on that one.
No, I just think he did way better in Miami than he did with us.
That's facts.
I miss him,
Agree with
though.
that. Yeah, he definitely.
I
had a
miss
good-
him locking
he had
down
a good
Kevin
half
Durant for
season.
49 points.
Yeah, that's probably he did the best job he could guarding KD.
I mean,
Yeah, he was different
when
that series.
KD goes KD mode, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
remember when KD's mom got mad at PJ Tucker in that
Yep.
one game in the playoffs. You guys remember that?
I do remember that.
He's like, stop hitting him so hard. Something like that. The real MVP.
Oh, I remember seeing
That speech.
That was a good speech. I'll give it
that
to
was a
him.
good speech, man.
So one more team really quick before we jump into final thoughts. The Chicago Bulls. I'll let you take this one
okay.
away, David.
So it's about it's the way I expected the season to kind of start. We've lost a few games that we should have won, but it's been interesting territory navigating Zach LaVine and having him injury managed because he's pretty much playing with a knee injury for the entire season last year, and he had surgery over the offseason. So I do think that we're going to pick up a little more because 3 of the games we've lost, we haven't had him, but he hasn't been playing back-to-backs, and we don't have another back-to-back until mid-December. So when DeMar and Zach both play, we lost to the Raptors 2 days ago because Zach didn't play. Yesterday we played the Raptors, Zach dropped 30, and we ended up beating them by 22 points.
That game made me sad because I have DeMar in fantasy basketball,
I also have
and he
DeMar
had
in
9
fantasy, and he
points
dropped
yesterday.
a very respectable 9 off of 2 of 6 shooting, so that was sick. But I think we have one of the best benches in the league. I think
Big woo.
Yeah, Javante Green, that's my dog. I was saying, I literally told my friends all last year that this man is one of the most underrated bench guards in the NBA. I think he should be in the dunk contest. He's got insane bounce. We have Derrick Jones Jr. too. He's been pretty good as a small ball center. Andre Drummond and Goran Dragic have looked like really good signings.
I think Andre Drummond was a really good under the radar pickup for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, with no offense to Philadelphia 76ers legend Tony Bradley, but he's not really cutting it anymore. But yeah, Kobe White and Drummond, Javante Green, and Derrick Jones Jr. have been one of the most productive benches in the league. So as long as we can stay healthy and just ride the ship, have a respectable record until Lonzo hopefully comes back. Because with Lonzo and Alex Caruso, at the guard spots, we have one of the best defensive backboards in the league. So
the thing is, though, is Caruso gonna get a ton of minutes once Lonzo comes back?
he probably still will. He'll probably get around I'd say probably 15 to 18 minutes per game. So hopefully my ideal scenario is we just kind of manage it, ramp up Zach's playing time, and then Lonzo hopefully should be back in the next 2 or 3 months. And then when he's back, he gets reacclimated. We should be good. I still think we can finish 6th in the East comfortably.
Anyone else have any thoughts on the Bulls? Just jump in.
I'll make one sentence. They're right where I predicted them, just kind of middle of the pack in the East right now.
It's fair.
I mean, I think the NBA is so spread out
It's
this year.
very spread out, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Teams like the Cavs and the Bucks are looking
The Cavs are right behind you guys.
Yeah, they're one
crazy.
game
They're
behind
looking
us.
good.
They've been
Yeah.
crazy, yeah.
They're looking
Don-
very
And
good.
Garland was
Mitchell-
out. Garland was out for most of those games too.
Mitchell is actually top 5 in MVP voting right now, which I know it's super early, but still it's impressive.
I feel like there's one player that's they're usually solid, top 25, top 30, that just randomly
Just randomly-
catapults into the MVP voting for the first
Yeah.
month or two.
This year
and
it's
then,
Larry Markkinen,
yeah.
consistently been
Fantasy
like
God.
Top 25.
consistently been around the top 25 player. And now
Yeah,
he's,
I'm sure.
Now he's in the
he was on
MVP
the outside of the
top.
NBA 75 last year.
Nah,
He was up there with the likes of Anthony
just saying.
Davis and
I'm just saying, in a very distant world, Laurie Markkinen makes it over Dame Lillard
you never know.
for that 75th spot.
That's a different debate for a different time. So we're going to launch into final thoughts now. So for my final thought, I guess I'm just going to give a quick shout out to the Warhawk football team for taking that must-win W against Stout last week, 16-7. The defense absolutely clamped down when they needed to. And they got a big game this weekend against UW Stevens Point. This one's another one of those. If you win, you're in. If you lose, well, I guess you got to wait
Tough.
for the committee and hope that something goes your way. But make sure to pack the perk on Saturday and come out and support our Warhawks as they try and win the WEAC and try and make it into the playoffs. All right, Brian.
Yep, another great week of sports. Excited for it. College basketball, welcome back. You were missed.
Sir.
It's going to be fun. Fun season. I can't wait. But also, Philly sports-wise, Phillies couldn't get the job done, unfortunate. It's still a fun season.
Tremendous run.
Fun season.
Tremendous
It was so
run.
They
fun
just
to
ran
watch
out
you
of
guys.
gas in the last
Tremendous
games.
run.
Philly fans are the most passionate in the
Yeah.
U.S. I
They
can't
have-
really debate that
Phillies
anymore.
have all my respect
Yep.
after this playoff
They
run.
just ran out of gas,
1,000%.
And they could also they could sign Trey Turner in the offseason. So they
That's
could
what
they
yeah.
could just be reloading for next year.
Yeah, can't wait. Also, the Union, they were in the MLS Cup. Another tough,
Oh, yeah, I
tough
forgot
heart-
about that.
tough, heartbreaking loss again. They had them 4 minutes away. They scored, lost in PKs. It sucks. But yeah, Heartbreak City in Philly right now. At least we got the Eagles, and the Sixers, like I said, should pick it up.
I think the Eagles have looked.
Still
might
my
be the
Super
best
Bowl.
They
team
looked a
now,
little tough
yeah.
last week for the first half, but they definitely picked
Still
it up
my
after
Super Bowl
that.
pick.
Yep.
That's a hot take right there.
Jalen Hurts MVP season, man.
My final thoughts are I'm interested to see the college football playoff committee rankings tonight.
Oh,
With
yeah.
I'm ready to
There was a
be
bit of a
disrespected.
shakeup this
Yeah,
weekend.
definitely a bit of a shakeup with a lot of top teams losing. So it'll be interesting to see like top 6-ish.
I'm ready to
of,
be
like-
disrespected again.
Nah.
All right, Austin, I just want you to
Yeah.
run through really quick your top 4.
All right, top 4: Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, and TCU 4. That's what it should.
Ooh.
That's what it should be. Don't know if it will be. Tennessee might stay at 4 just because
They
the
beat
wins that they
Alabama.
have, but I think TCU should go to 4th. That should be the top 4.
TCU
I think the
would be
main-
a fun pick.
I think the main question with you guys right now in Michigan is the resume. You guys
Yeah.
have what? One top 25 win?
But Ohio State only has one top 25
Yeah,
win
they're
too,
both
though.
in the same. They're kind of both in the same
yeah.
boat. So,
I mean, until you
I
guys
mean,
play
all
each
just gonna-
other, it's kind
yeah,
of.
It all
Yeah.
comes down to November 26th.
Oh.
Count
And,
down the days.
So
I would
ready.
actually say that you guys looked better against Penn State than they
Yeah.
did, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, they needed
They were
that.
on the
but
they
were on
were
the
also
brink.
on the road. We were at home, but it's a different
Yeah, it's hard to play out in
And,
Happy
yeah,
Valley for sure.
And you can't judge Ohio State. They played in 70 mile per winds, like 70
Yeah.
mile per hour winds or something like that this weekend. So you can't
Yeah.
really judge their performance there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all going to come down to the game, obviously.
So excited.
All right, Alyssa.
Okay, the Bucks and Thunder tomorrow at 7. They're probably gonna win. You got the Packers and Cowboys Sunday.
Hey, we don't have to talk about it. You know, there's a reason it was a basketball show today.
Boys.
They're playing. They're playing on Sunday at 3:25 against the Cowboys, and then Badgers basketball on Sunday at 6:30. Excited for that.
It's actually another good story. Mike McCarthy's making his return
Yeah,
to
that
Green
should be
Bay.
interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Yep,
I
yep,
actually,
he's the head coach of the Cowboys.
I think the fans should give him a standing O.
Yeah,
I
it
really think
definitely
they should.
should. It
I think
definitely
for
should
all
be.
he did for us,
Yeah,
even
for
though those
sure.
last years were admittedly a little tough to handle, I think he got us a Super Bowl at the end of
Yeah,
the day. Like
for
you have
sure.
to thank him. Even Rodgers is saying like, you
Yeah.
gotta respect what he did for the city and the team.
Yeah, I was gonna agree with Austin. Can't wait to see the power rankings. I have Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and then I'd still put Tennessee there just because they've looked really impressive. Besides for the Georgia game, but college football is coming. It's ramping up, so I'm excited for that. So excited for college basketball to start up again. That's my favorite time of year, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to how the season plays out.
I'm ready for to get hurt again by the Badgers in
Yeah.
these last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to do it for our Tuesday edition of Hawk Talk this week on 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater, also streaming live on UWW-TV through YouTube and the stream link. Make sure to tune back in tomorrow for Nolan, and thanks for listening, and have a good night.